Welcome to EnigmaCast, nerds. Tonight is a special night for several reasons. First reason would be it's my co-host, Jay. Uncle Jay, introduce yourself.
Uncle Jay from Uncle Jay's Urban Legends. Finally have some social media, you know.
There it is.
Check me out on TikTok and Instagram. I'll have more content to come. I like to do AI videos. So if that's not your sort of thing, then sorry. But I dig AI. It's one of my favorite things.
After a year of people asking me, where's Uncle Jay's? Where's Uncle Jay's this? Where's Uncle Jay's that?
I know.
He finally, with his ADHD brain, gets around to creating his social medias, Enigmites. They will be in the description of the video. Go give him a follow, because right now he's got about 3, me and Sasquatch Steve and some other rando.
Yeah, totally.
We'll boost you up then. The second thing that makes this special is that you would think after all these years I would get used to being proven right, but it just never, ever gets old, Enigmites. Tonight, we are talking about, Jay, what exactly are we talking about tonight, Jay?
I have to say it. I think you're right about the pyramids.
Son, boom, hit him with the flex, dog.
I would never, I'm not, I will always admit when I'm wrong. Or whatever. I don't know. You've been saying that the whole time, and I've been kind of like, but damn.
Enigmites, we're going to talk tonight about the recent discovery that was found underneath the pyramids, but to give it some context, I have been telling my friends, and this guy included, for at least
forever.
8 to 10 years, I've been saying that those pyramids are not burial chambers, that they're power plants, and I have been called a racist. Some good comments on my channel. I've been called a racist.
Somebody did call you a racist.
I've been told to go unalive myself. I've been told that you're just mad because a white man didn't build it, and I said, well, no man actually built it. I took the heat, and I never strayed from the course, and
it's got nothing to do,
a discovery was made.
It's got nothing to do with, dislike of anyone. It's just like when you look at what happened, there's no way, dude.
No way. It's impossible. And I'm going to regurgitate the receipts. I've been bringing the receipts for a long time. It was my first viral video. It's pinned on my Instagram page. Go check it out, where I said this was not built by a bunch of 130-pound guys that are 5'4" in diapers with a can-do attitude. It wasn't done, right? This wasn't done. The Kemets found Egypt when they migrated north, right? There is no more Egyptians alive on the planet. Real Egyptians are alive on the planet. Anyways, Jay, so enough of that. Welcome to EnigmaCast, nerds. We're going to get into this. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell me whatever you want to think, and I will chew you up. This is one of my areas of expertise. Actually, when we dig into it, I will go up one side of you and down the other, proving you wrong. Handedly, we're about to tell you, I'm about to bring more receipts here, and I got some more bangers here as well. On what, Jay? Give us the high-level overview, Jay, of what exactly was found last week under the Great Pyramids of Giza.
So, apparently, underneath the Pyramid of Khafre, I'm trying to make sure I pronounce that right.
It's okay.
Scientists have done a scan, basically, of the Great Pyramids. With something called a synthetic aperture radar and Doppler tomography, right? Really fancy radar, right?
It's like it's like LiDAR on steroids. LiDAR on steroids.
Yeah, it has uncovered it says 8 massive cylindrical structures beneath the pyramid, arranged in 2 parallel rows running north to south. And it allegedly stretches for at least 2 kilometers beneath the surface and extends beneath multiple pyramids.
Yeah. So to give context on that, people, imagine they just found 8 Empire State Buildings buried underneath the pyramids in that plateau, just to give you the distance range to go in there and do it, right?
Let me give you a perspective, right? Have you ever run a 5K?
Yep.
run half of that. That's how far it goes.
That far down it goes. So now this was met with a sound that is music to my ears from all you haters out there, because I've been all over this story. It was met by crickets. Oh my goodness. Crickets. So we're going to dig into this night, Enigmites. We're going to get into the story and we're going to break it down on what we think it really is. It's actually added more context to what I actually think it is now. And the things that it disproves, and the things that we have to go back and rethink a little bit, and the things that it 100% is no longer eligible to be argued. Just to let you know this as well, you will never find one peer-reviewed scientific paper that states how the Egyptian pyramids were made. You'll find a lot of theories. You'll find a lot of skeptics on there, from renowned Egyptologists to Graham Hancock going on Joe Rogan. No one. It's the one thing they can all agree on. It's the one thing they can all agree on is no one knows how they were built. No one, right?
And that's not the only one too. Like
yes.
You got Göbekli Tepe, which has humongous slabs and was built before the pyramids, apparently, like before the pyramids, right?
Yep.
At this point, I don't think so, right? I don't think so, because like
that's actually.
You think about, like, just from an engineering perspective, digging a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Digging a hole is hard.
Yep.
And like digging a hole with a shovel is hard. Digging a hole with an excavator is still hard. A 2-kilometer deep hole.
Yeah.
Like.
And they're postulating. Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. 8.
8. And they're postulating that it ends in bedrock, so it went down into the stone as well. So
right.
And to give you a quick overview of why I've always said the pyramids were actually power plants, is that the pyramids you see right now are not what the pyramids look like. The pyramids were actually looted by Nebuchadnezzar and his people when he basically took over the entire area. It used to be smooth on the outside with a crystal, some type of crystal cap on top. So what you see right now,
quartz, I believe.
Quartz, and what you see right now is just a skeleton of it. And the theory was always that there was a running water source directly beneath the pyramid that caused the pyramid to slightly vibrate. And if you do any look into Nikola Tesla's work, he'll talk that that's the way the free energy works, is vibration. The earth is all frequency and vibration, right? So
I can tell you what the sound scientific theory is there.
Hit it.
If you just let me add a little bit of technical speak to that, right? All right, think about, I would need to look at it more closely, right? But the Nile River has been dammed for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
It had a natural ebb and flow to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you would hear about, like the old legends talk about it rising and falling, right? Well, if that were the case, and that water was able to get underground in those chambers, and that rising and falling, right?
Yes.
Would act like a piston, right? Mm-hmm. And it would vibrate those big blocks underneath the pillars. Mm-hmm. The pillars would go all the way up and vibrate the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
And if the pyramids were built of like piezoelectric stone, which is literally quartz, right? If you squeeze, that's why quartz is in watches, right? If you squeeze quartz, it lets off an electric charge, right? So, I mean, it would focus that charge.
Yeah, that's why
and if it was gold plated, what's better conductor than gold?
Yeah, that's why the Tag Heuer watches never have to be wound. You just have to wear it, and the quartz inside will keep the charge going full time. So, anyways,
right.
So, and also to add this to it, this is the first thing that this discovery absolutely 100% proves without a shadow of a doubt and can no longer be debated was that the Great Flood happened, because at the time they've often said is that area was a tropical area at the time, was very lush, very jungle-like. So the Nile River was probably a lot bigger and probably had a stronger ebb and flow than it did right now. It was definitely not there. So that right there, that scientific discovery number one, puts the Great Flood story to rest. It happened. The second thing, what's that?
There's just just so much, like there's so much anecdotal evidence to back that up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like every legend has a flood myth.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore that and say, well, no.
No, you can't.
Sorry.
In fact, if you're still arguing that the flood happened or not, then it's not the channel for you.
You're just ignoring.
You're just ignoring facts, man. That's it, man. You're ignoring all kinds of science. And the second thing that's absolutely, positively, 100% proves is that there was an advanced civilization on this earth prior to our rise as an advanced civilization. Because even right now, like he just said, with modern technology, it would be hard for us to repeat what was done on this level of architecture, right?
I mean, it wouldn't be easy.
I mean, it's free energy, Jay. Right? We can't. Well, I mean, we could do it now. That we probably know how to do it now. We know how to do the tech now, but it's free. They had free energy back then, 100%.
I mean,
it makes the hieroglyph.
The whole thing the whole thing is making me crazy, right? Because, in all honesty, it feeds into whatever delusion I have about and I don't want to say this the way it's going to come out, but it's going to have to, the hollow earth theory thing.
Yeah.
Like, not a hollow earth, so to speak, but I don't think, God, this is such weird territory to be in right now. I'm beginning to think that
wait for this
I'm
moment.
Right.
Wait for this moment.
I'm beginning to think that I'm actually onto something. That the weird, crazy theory that I have, like, I don't really want it to be true, but it feels more true every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what it also proves is that, it also proves, even look, I'll even say, if I know some of you sheeple are going to watch this and you're going to still argue back and forth because you just like to argue. I'm fine with it. But at a very minimum, this discovery totally destroys the narrative that we were told what those pyramids were. They were never burial chambers, ever. And it also makes you say that everything that we think or they think they know or have told us that we know about that structure has to be re-examined from a different lens. Has to be, right? 100%. This discovery is, I would say that this discovery right here, in my personal opinion, I've heard other people say this as well, the discovery of these facilities underneath those pyramids is the greatest archaeological discovery that we have made since we invented writing to write things down. Period, right? Göbekli Tepe used to be number one. Now Göbekli Tepe is probably a strong number two. This is number one.
This is, right? That's like, it's the strangest thing on earth at this moment in time. Because, like, I'm looking at I'm sorry, I was distracted. I was literally looking at the map, right? Like Google Earth of where the pyramids are in relation to the river, dude. And what's fascinating to me is, so if you're at the pyramids, the river is right over here.
Yep.
And the footprint of the river is right up against, like, so there's the actual river and then there's the green on each side of the river Nile, right? And that green butts right up against where the pyramids are.
Right.
Like, so I would, dude, if, like you're saying, tropical, lush, huge river, right? It would have butted right up against there.
Absolutely. I've been saying it for 8 years, 10 years. I've been screaming this, and now some people believe me. Some people had similar theories on this. Some people added some more context to what I was talking about. And now, at a very minimum, you have to say at least I'm right. They're not burial chambers, and at a very minimum, the Egyptians again did not build these. But this takes us on to the next step. And again, before y'all call me a racist, no human built these. All right.
Yeah, it's not about that at all.
Yeah.
It's about
no
just
man.
like it's kind of unimaginable, and we don't know enough to know enough to say.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what we don't know. There's like something going on here that's bigger than
exactly. So
culture.
So I can tell you right now what is absolutely fact, right? Is that right around shortly after the fall of King Solomon to witchcraft and fiduciary of all sorts of nature he wasn't supposed to be messing with, the Israelites who owned that area basically started sacrificing their children to Molech, and it made God angry. And so God sent Nebuchadnezzar out of Babylon to sweep down and kill and destroy and burn everything and take them all into captivity. And he did. And that'll take you right into the very beginning of the story of the book of Daniel in the Bible. And it says in there, as a reward for being loyal and doing what God asked him to do, God gave Egypt to Nebuchadnezzar as a reward. Nebuchadnezzar then took his powerful, unstoppable army down to Egypt and killed all the Egyptians that were down there. All of them. Took the rest of them into slavery, looted everything, took all the gold, took all the artifacts, took them all back up to Babylon, which is modern day Baghdad, right? The Kemites, which were in mid part of Africa, around that area, 40, 50 years later, migrated north, and they found those ruins. Those are your modern day Egyptians, period. Don't argue with me because you'll lose. And even modern historians, you don't have to take my word for it. Go look it up yourself. We'll tell you. That's it. Now, what this discovery right here does, not only opens up that book, what I just said goes back. This also, in my humble opinion, puts one more check marks next to the book of Enoch and the Sumerian tablet tales of these Anunnaki, these watchers, these 10-foot tall beings, right, with advanced technology that came down. And it would explain again why they took the book of Enoch J out of there, and it opens up some worms, fam.
It does. So I saw a story in passing, and I didn't get an opportunity to read the whole thing. They found like a human footprint where they definitely shouldn't have found it. And I wish I could look it up, but I want to say, so I think about this a lot, right? Like, because I try to go deep into these legends, right? So I go back and I say, all right, look, what's interesting to me is this, right? There have been humans, like genetically modern humans on Earth. We're going to say conservatively 300,000 years.
Correct.
We domesticated dogs 60,000 years ago.
Right.
So you're telling me that we made them pets 60,000 years ago, and then we sat in caves with our pets for 50,000 years?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we started building pyramids and shit?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't.
You know what I mean?
It
And
so,
so I went through and I was like, all right, well, what would be the deciding factors there, right? Like, what would keep us from advancing, right? Like the temperature, the climate. What did the Earth look like at that time, right?
Food, war.
So I went deep into this, right? So yes, the world was pretty hostile, right? Genetically modern humans emerged perhaps 50 to 70,000 years ago, right? there was a hostile environment. It was, I'm looking for the research. It was like, it was really cold. And so there's just this one kind of survivable band existed for a bit. And yeah, like,
well, I can even
we were getting hit with stuff.
I can add on. I can add on to your theory as well. Is that I think what we're scientifically right now, this version of us is called Homo sapiens sapien, right? That's what we're called, correct?
Right.
We are not only, well, we are supposedly the most mentally advanced that we've ever been, but we're also the physically weakest. If you ever encountered a Neanderthal, he would handle you in a fist fight.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, so they were built for
they were
that
powerful.
environment. They were very strong. They were very powerful. I actually think that some of the remnants of them have survived, and that when you hear these wild man stories that people talk about hey, they saw a Bigfoot or they saw whatever, but it looked more human than it did ape. I think that could be some offshoots of it. But this Homo sapiens sapien version of us, and we're fairly strong individuals, but they would smoke us any type of fist fight or whatever. They would overpower us easy, right? And that was because of the way the environment was. And so we had these massive gaps in there. And if you go back to the book of Enoch and you go back to Genesis and you go back to the Sumerian tablets, something sped up our evolution, right? And I'm telling you right now that this is actually going to tie in very well to what I actually think this discovery has expanded what I actually think that pyramid is. That area. I'm going to generalize a little bit, right? So I'm going to unpack this, Jay, and then I'm going to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
That area, once upon a time, before the flood, was a tropical environment, right? The flood was so devastating, it actually changed temperature, changed the climate, changed a lot of
whatever
stuff.
The event was that caused the flood, right?
You read the Sumerian tablets if you want to go the Star Trek route. Go read the book of Enoch if you want to go the angel route. But they all say the same thing. Something came down, took us, turned us into some things, also started
gave us a little boost.
Gave us a little boost, also was splicing DNA and making hybrid animals. That pyramid, hear me out on this, that pyramid, I think, was the cornerstone or capital city of a global civilization that would explain the pyramids found all over the globe. But I think that was where they came down. That's where I think they started. Because if it says they came down on Mount Hermon, I think it was in somewhere in the Middle East.
Mount Hebron?
Hebron, yeah, Mount Hebron.
It was Mount Hebron, yeah.
And basically just go south, and there's Egypt. It's right there, right? Just go down. I actually think that not only was this a power plant, dog, this was also some type of supercomputer laboratory type of AI that they were using to communicate globally or do their whole things. Because you got to say that if they're coming down here to splice DNA, right? Splice DNA, they had to have some type of what we would refer a computer or a lab or something to run these sequences, right? They had to run these sequences, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I think this was ground zero, man. People say that Baghdad was the cradle of civilization because of Nimrod, but this predates Nimrod and the Tower of Babel hundreds of thousands of years, right?
Yep.
And I'll tell you this. If you even go back and you look at any of Edgar Casey's predictions, which I don't, some of them are hit or miss, but you also go back and you hear some other people talking about how underneath the left paw of the Sphinx was supposed to be this Akashic record library of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. That this thing, that we've known about it for a long time, and we're about to turn it on. Or we've already turned it on. And we talked about this on Discord when I posed the question. Enigmites, I'm gonna throw this on to you as well, Enigmites. Elon Musk has Gronk in headquarters in Memphis, Tennessee. This is not, it's easily to prove. He's all over the place. The head of, Elon Musk's AI is called Grok. Grok headquarters and the mainframe or the supercomputer, the quantum computer they have, is in Memphis, Tennessee. He picked Memphis, Tennessee, and he will tell you this, several clips, is because of Memphis out of the Egypt where the first Egyptian gods came from. He's on tape. He's on tape several times referring to it as AI God, computer God, God AI, several times, right? He is not a Christian at all. His mother, May Musk, is one of the most satanic people you'll ever meet. And I think they've known about this for a long, long, long time. And I question the release of this information right now. We're not going to get tenfold. We're going to stay on the history aspect of this, Jay.
Yeah.
The same time they dropped the JFK files, they dropped this discovery. It's the same day. Same exact time, right? Within 12 hours of each other.
Interesting, isn't that?
Right.
It's interesting. I didn't think about it from that perspective. For sure.
So the
question, I'm all focused on I want more details on the structural engineering of it just so I can understand the implications, right? But to give you, all right. Any spacefaring, in my opinion, any spacefaring civilization is going to have AI.
For sure.
Because we do. Right?
Well, Jay,
and we're not even a spacefaring civilization.
So Jay, I mean, even remember the Pascagoula, 1973 Pascagoula incident. The guy said the ship was alive. And he said it was alive.
I mean, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he said the ship. He said the ship was alive. So obviously they were talking about AI.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Right. So, there's a lot of unknowns there, right? One of them is when you start moving faster than the speed of light, physics gets a little weird, right? There's, time dilation effects and all kind of stuff that has been glossed over in science fiction, right? For the most part, except for Interstellar did some kind of explaining of how time dilation works when you're traveling, relative time and all that stuff. It's complicated and I don't understand it well enough to explain it, but I think that faster than light travel is hard, right? Any way you slice it. I think even for an advanced civilization, I think it might be hard, right? That's my suspicion. So I think that if another civilization or a spacefaring civilization that could travel interstellarly, from star to star at a reasonable speed, right, would need a base of operations here. So my thought is this, right? If you have something like the pyramid, where with its specific shape and structure and how it theoretically speaking, if it were a discharge power plant, right, where it takes the piezoelectricity from the motion of the river vibrating the pillars underneath, and then that energy was transferred, the pyramids concentrated it and shot it into the clouds, right? You wouldn't even have to leave the gravity well, meaning you could stay in space on a ship, drop a collector down, drag through the ionosphere, and that energy would be pulled up into the ship. There's a bunch of different ways you could do that, right? Theoretically speaking.
Yeah. So let me add this on there though. I know how they were doing it, and I'm gonna tell you how.
I'm waiting.
They're beyond faster than light travel. What that pyramid was doing was opening a portal. They were coming through portals. When that thing
you go, right?
When that thing shot up in the air like that, and like you said, they would need an anchor of a base, right? So they don't portal into the side of a mountain, or they don't portal into, in halfway through
Exactly.
into bedrock. And
When
that's
you're
what
creating a wormhole, you don't want to
yes.
create a wormhole into the middle of the earth.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I think this thing was doing. They weren't using it to charge aircraft. They were just using it to open up.
Just using it
to get in and out. And if even right now, if you watch all the phenomenon that's going on, where everybody keeps saying, "Oh, that's SpaceX." I mean, there's portals are being seen all over even the Bible talks about the sky rolling back like a scroll, right? That's a portal opening, right? And if you go back to that time, if you handed a Neanderthal a cell phone, and that cell phone started speaking its language, telling it to do how to build fire, had AI in it, right? What would they call it?
For sure.
A demon.
They would call it God. A demon or something. It would be a supernatural something.
Or a demon, right? And so, Enigmites, the question I threw up on my Discord is that what if that AI, and God flooded the earth for a reason, right? So, hands down, right? What if that AI that we've known about, I would say probably for 50 years, but just now got up to close to the technology that we could, effectively, do whatever with it probably 10 years ago. If opening up that AI is what starts triggering the events in the book of Revelations. And I'm just going to have this a little fun. I'm a dungeon master right here, a little D&D, right?
Okay, we're going to walk down the path.
So check this out. So check this out, Jay. You turn that AI on, right? And it realizes that something has happened and it's off. So what's the first thing that it does? Is it powers up and opens up a portal. And now the other people on the other end is like, okay, Earth 00771 is open. And they send in.
Let's go.
They start sending things over, right? And they see what's going on.
They're gonna freak out.
Or check this out. That was item number 1. Now item number 2 is, what if it is connected like a LAN, a large area network is what a LAN stands for, Enigmites. This computer, yeah, exactly. So this computer kicks on in, Egypt, and immediately does a ping and see who's still on the network, and it pings, and Antarctica is online, but there's things down there in hibernation, and it starts waking them up, and it starts going through their protocol, basically like suspended hibernation to wake them up. And that was the plan is that when a civilization found this or discovered it, it turned them on. Possibilities are endless, man. A lot of good movie content here.
Yeah, for sure. It won't be long. I'm sure before there's
But these are the things, man, that I would say, and I'm telling you, man, I'm so geeked about this. This is another reason why I think this discovery is the greatest discovery since I've been alive. Is because you can no longer write what I just said off as like you just can't write that off anymore, right?
So, all right. So I'm looking at the timeline, right? What's interesting about it is that we go through this cyclical cold warm stuff, right? And then all of a sudden there's this event, right, that just completely wipes out about 11,000 years ago. Modern warm periods begin. Sea level rises, right? And so at the time, because of what had happened before, right, this cold period and then this warm, dry period, they would have been concentrated around the coasts. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as this modern warm period begins and the flooding of the coastal areas begins, civilization is wiped out.
Yeah.
So anything that had kind of taken hold over the last, 20,000 years is all of a sudden underwater. Can you imagine? Like,
bro,
you wouldn't be able to react to that.
I'll even take you a step further, man. So this is the thing. It happened so fast, right? It happened so fast. I think it was okay. We'll even give you the benefit of the doubt, man, that it was a natural phenomenon. An asteroid bumped into each other in the Kepler belt, right around.
Yeah, and it like slung a big icy thing at us.
Yeah, during the younger Dryas, right? We'll take the Anunnaki out of it. We'll take God out of it. We'll just say, hey, look, man.
Yep.
Something. A big
happened,
big rock, come flinging at the Earth, right? Slammed into it. They have scientific proof now that if you go to Africa and you look at the western coast of Africa, you see the ripples that the waves left as the water was receding. Right. The Earth flooded and then unflooded in like 2 days. Right. So that's how fast it happened. Like, you had no shot of surviving. Right?
Geologically speaking.
Yeah, exactly. You had no shot of surviving that, right? Unless you planned for it, right? And again, that's when you have to say, ignore, Native American lore at your own cost, but
at your peril.
Your peril. But even if you go to, you can't pick an area from Cambodia to Japan to freaking, Hungary. They were all warned, and a large populations of them all went underground, and they waited it out, and they didn't have to. And again, they didn't wait it out 400 years. It was a month and a half, and it was done. Everything was wiped out. Don't get me wrong, man. They came back outside, and it was trashed, right? And so that's what I think this was. I think they've known about it for a long time. Jay, why do you need power? Why do you need it? Right? Because
that kind of if it's generating electricity specifically, right? What is that powering?
Yeah, exactly. That's way more than enough to keep lights on. You know what I'm saying? But you want to tell us that we were hunter-gatherers, Bronze Age tools with torches, right? That's what you want to tell us was happening at this time. No. If they were harnessing massive amounts of power for a reason, right? And you don't take that time to build that and do all that stuff to that scale just so the village can have, lights at night, right? So that's what, and that right there has to be re-examined. Again, man, my favorite question when it comes to this stuff is the why. Why? Like, why was that? Why does every civilization have a word for a shape-shifting reptile? Why? Why is that? Right? Yeah, why? Right? Oh, maybe because they were shape-shifting reptiles down here. They could take on human form.
Or, and look, there's things that stick in my head specifically, like stick on the back of my brain, and I can't let go of them. One of them is the Mayan thing, right? The Mayan long count calendar is a 6,000-year cycle, right? They talk about different waves, right? Different, like the fifth, or like we're the fifth or sixth wave or something like that.
Yeah, we're the sixth generation.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm sorry, not generation. What the cycle? The sixth.
Like
cycle.
Wrong. The sixth cycle on the long count.
The long count calendar, yes.
And what's interesting to me about that is that, like, if you look at the timeline, we existed for all of this time, right? Like these 30,000, 40,000 years, just kind of like as we are, like genetically modern humans. This is what we look like, right? Yeah. Like all of the things, you know what I mean? And that's a long, long time, right? Mm-hmm. But when you look at what we know about what happened to the planet, right? It makes sense, but it makes sense that we have risen and fallen a couple times here,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
And so my thought is like, what if one of those times when we went underground, we just didn't come back out?
Oh yeah, no, for sure,
and just keep going deeper.
That would explain Shangri-La. that would
It would
explain
explain a lot, dude.
It would explain, the stories of, the what's his name, Trismegista or whatever his name is, right? How he just shows up after natural disasters or helps us learn how to grow wheat again, and then again, 100 years later, we're sacrificing people at the top of pyramids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm going to take it one step further, right? So there's two things that have been disclosed. One of the things that, again, tickles my brain. One of the disclosures has been there is a craft somewhere on Earth that is too big to move.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, right? And we haven't heard that just once, but we've heard it 1,000 times now.
Several times I've heard that.
So it's we should kind of accept it as at least plausible, right? So there's something on Earth that's not movable. Now, are they talking about what we just found? Right?
Well,
could that be it? But we don't know. So
can't rule it out,
for a minute. We can't rule it out, but we have no idea. So we'll set that aside and say, okay, not only have they said that there's something big out there that they can't move, but we just found something really, really crazy looking in the ground under one of the surface level crazy looking things that we found, right? So underneath the crazy looking thing is just this massive underground complex that seems kind of impossible for people with copper chisels to make.
Can't be done.
Right? Considering the ventilation and engineering aspects that go into that.
Well,
so it makes you think for a minute, all right, well, what the heck is it? Right? And again, I say, well, we've been hiding in caves. We've built, there's a city in Turkey, Derinkuyu, underground city, like 19 miles of city underground.
Derinkuyu can house 60,000 people.
And
it's 19 miles, underground.
If they just decided after one of these cataclysms that they were just like, you know what? It's too dangerous up there. We're going deeper and we're not coming out. Right? And what if we're like, what would be the earth-shaking reveal? Not aliens, but us down there.
Hollow Earth.
And we're the deviants.
Yeah, Hollow Earth. Basically, the Hollow Earth theory. You just
kinda.
You plugged on it too. Well, add this to your thing as well.
I mean, I don't know enough about Hollow Earth to say.
Oh, I do.
Right?
Yeah, I believe. So.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, like, okay, so you have all of these Dogman sightings and all of these weird things happening around the mountains.
Well, add this to your list too before you go on to it. Last week in Gatlinburg, someone reported a pterodactyl dipping in and out of traffic, and there's been two reporting sightings of, wait for it, of velociraptor-looking creatures somewhere. And I was like, I'm not making this up. You can go look it up as well.
I will, but where?
I don't know where the velociraptors were found, but Harley Owens was telling me about the dinosaur pterodactyl looking thing. They're all over Oklahoma too.
Oh lordy. So yeah, what's fascinating to me is it's all around mountains, right? Mm-hmm. Mountains typically have caves just because mountains and the way that they're formed, and all that geology stuff that goes into that, right?
Lava tubes, for sure.
Mount Shasta, right?
Yeah.
The Appalachians.
Oldest mountain range on the planet.
Weird things happen around the caves, right?
Yep.
So, like, I feel like, what if like the angels and all of that were just like advanced humans who had been underground and who had come out to like say, hey, you've experienced this flood. We've experienced that once before. Yeah. Here's how you get back on your feet. And then poof. And the ones that came up kind of went native because they liked it up there.
Right. And stayed. Sam Yaza, or however his name is, and company. So yeah, bro. So check this out. on top of all of this fidukery that's going on, left and right, left and right, left and right, you can't help but notice that obviously by now we know that mainstream media is nothing but a indoctrination, preconditioning type of mouthpiece. That's why you see the videos now of 40 news stations saying the exact same thing verbatim, over and over and over again.
If you're not paying for it, you are the product.
Exactly. And they keep pushing the golden age, April 2nd. They keep talking. And for you people who don't know, April 2nd is the natural brand new day of the new year. April 1st is when Jesus was resurrected. We're supposed to be on a 13-month, 28-day calendar. April 1st is the beginning of the year, first day of spring or whatever, however it is. They keep saying the golden area, the golden age, the golden age. And we're in the age of Aquarius. Go look what that means, man. The age of enlightenment. Aquarius, 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 right? And it seems to me, man, that this is a slow walk of something that they've known about for a while. I just can't shake the feeling that something is about to, for lack of a better word, a piece is about to be put on the chessboard in the galactic cosmic battle versus whatever is about to make its appearance here.
There are so many things happening at once.
Right.
So I've thought about this a lot too, right? We're going through what I call cultural phase change, right?
Yeah.
So there's this concept in physics of phase change, right? Like ice to water, water to steam, so on and so forth, right? Plasma, so on and whatever. So I feel like cultures do the same thing, right? When we have this kind of dance between culture and technology, right? They kind of push each other forward and they do this spiraling dance forward. And if you want to think of it from a yin and yang perspective, culture would be the feminine and technology would be the masculine, right? And I'm sorry, I don't know which is which. I think yin is masculine and yang is feminine.
Kung Fu is strong.
Yeah, mine is weak. Anyway, apparently. But my thought is this, right? Our technology is moving very fast. It's moving faster than our culture is able to keep up with right now. And it's going to continue to accelerate, right? I've done a lot of research on AI in the last year. And the leaps and bounds that it has made are pretty startling. Now, that being said, there is a lot of it. There's a big hype cloud around it too. Okay. It is capable of things. It is capable of miraculous things when done correctly. It is capable of spewing out garbage when done incorrectly.
Right.
And it is really easy to do incorrectly. The state that it's in right now, it's not going to wake up and be, Terminator. It's just not. It's just not. It's not capable of doing that. It will do exactly what you tell it to do, given the data that it's been trained on, right? We're not close to Terminator, not even a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not.
Now, when they start rocking robot bodies, some things might some interesting emergent behaviors are possible, right? In its current state, where it's like a chatbot on your computer, right? An agent. Now, there are other concerns there, right? Like cybersecurity concerns and stuff like that, where it's actively being used like that, right? And it's good at that, but it's a tool.
Yeah, it's not a biblical. Right, it's not a biblical level threat. I don't think that the ones that we're using is not. But what I will say is that I think that at the speed at which AI is able to, once it gets out of the box and starts replicating itself to improving itself, its AI model, its learning model, or whatever. I think that it could, but you can go back. They said the same thing about the rifle, when the rifle was invented, that
gunpowder, the rifle,
that it would, it would take the compassion or the make killing easier, and because back in the day, when you threw hands, you had to get close, right? So, but we've done the study on the Book of Jubilees, Jay, and according to that, these events are going to happen no matter what. They can be prolonged, or God can speed them up at His will, but there is a divine timeline that we cannot get off of, and so. Welcome to the disco party. But I will say,
right.
I will say what's about to happen, though, I think is going to be, I think within 1 year, all mainstream media outlets are going to be out of business, bankrupt. And I'm going to say it because of the very simplistic thing that I read 2 days ago. The United States of America and New Zealand are the only two countries that actually advertise pharmaceuticals. Right.
Yeah.
And once we ban pharmaceutical commercials, CNN and Fox News and all these your erectile dysfunction commercials, they all go away. And so if they're not getting that revenue, there's no sense on them staying on there, right? So I think we might go back
from your lips to God's ears, sir.
I actually think that's going to happen. And I think that
I'm fine with that.
And how I tie that into what we're talking about right now is that it will force medical technicians to actually start curing the ailment instead of, and AI is very good. And I think we're probably almost there where an AI can analyze your blood sample, tell you what's wrong, and then fix it. Right. And not fix it with pharmaceutical stuff.
I think we'll be there. I think we'll be there in about 5 to 10 years.
I think we'll be there in less than a year and a half. And I think that's going to be,
for the average human,
the miracle,
because it's
going
to follow the trajectory that every technology follows, right? It's going to be available to the very wealthy first, and then it'll go down. It'll slide.
Maybe.
Right. But
so anyways.
No, and I totally agree. I do totally agree with you. We're on this weird trajectory, like technologically speaking, and I think that is what's driving this weird change that everybody feels, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so. What's fascinating is the information is too available. Yeah. Like politicians can't hide anymore.
No. And
they can't hide their shenanigans anymore. So like,
and to add on to what you were saying, either we're on the cusp of higher than advanced level technology, UFOs.
Oh man, you have no idea.
Stepping out of the shadows, or you're going to start hearing trumpets blowing, and there's going to be about to be one hell of a war going on.
The sky's going to open up
between some angels and some lizard people down there. Some angels and some lizard people down there.
Right. If I see horses marching across the sky, Joe, that's it. I'm going to just throw the hammock up and watch the show.
We're kitting up, man. I'm getting in the mix. We're kitting up, son.
In the mix.
We're built for this. Yeah, we're built for this. Because when I'm not trashing people about what the pyramids really are. If you think I was dangerous, I'm unstoppable now. Don't come at me with these pyramids no more. When I'm not doing,
it's amazing. It's so insane. It is awesome. I love it so much.
When I'm not doing that, I'm on the Draco reptilian lizard tip, man. I'm pointing out that there's a species of underground shapeshifters that we have to deal with as well.
Think about it, right? Okay, I'm gonna play you that idea out a minute, right? What if you are an advanced underground civilization? What do? You adapt to your environment, or you genetically modify yourself to be able to adapt to your environment.
Yep. So, either way, Jay.
So, shapeshifters, underground shapeshifters coming out of the ocean, and those big. That's what the Tic Tacs are.
That's all it is, man.
Right.
The UAP.
It's just the underground people coming up.
That's it.
They're like too much nuclear testing. You got, I have one of those too. 1945, first nuclear test in New Mexico. 1947, ship crash,
Roswell,
Roswell, New Mexico.
Yep.
We've been testing our nuclear weapons by shooting them into the ground at that point. After that, we started doing it in the ocean.
But woke them up next. So
woke them up, and now they're mad.
So Jay, well, they tell them to get in line. There's a lot of people mad at us right now. So get in line.
I know.
So Jay,
for sure.
On the way out
yes,
here,
sir.
Throwing it at you. Why do you think it is? What do they find?
What did they find?
What do you think it is?
What do I think it is? Dude, to me, it really does look like a hydropower plant.
Yeah.
To me, just because of the construction and the spiral and the columns and the chambers and the proximity to the fluctuating river and
don't come out and tell us those things spin. Don't come out and say it. Don't say it.
I know, right?
Don't come out and say it.
Don't make them turbines because that would just blow my mind.
Don't do it. Don't do
it. Between that and so it seems like it has a spiral staircase in it or something like that. Like the ventilation, just the ventilation alone required to excavate something like that. Like I grew up around, my dad worked for John Deere Industrial Equipment. I drove bulldozers when I was 10 years old. I get what it takes to dig a hole.
Yep.
Right? I've been behind those machines. Just the sheer magnitude of the engineering effort it would take to construct something like that with modern equipment kind of blows my mind. But with doing it with copper chisels is just... I find it unlikely.
That's a no-go, son. No, that's a hell no.
It's improbable.
Highly improbable.
Getting that many people to do that thing and the engineering involved.
No. So
it's hard.
For me,
something stinks.
Yep, something's not right. Something's not right. For me, it is 100%. Again, I'm sticking with it's definitely a power plant, but I actually think that it's also probably a power plant supercomputer portal, man. I think that's what I think it is. I think that's that's just my feeling is that that's what it was.
I got a super crazy theory that goes right along with that if you want to hear it.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Hit it.
Okay. Here's my super crazy theory. So say that artificial superintelligence actually exists, right? Mm-hmm. AI ascends to the level that everybody's imagining it does, and then it becomes just this superintelligence, right? Well, if it did become that advanced level, it would understand time at a level that we couldn't. Mm-hmm. So it could reach back because the arrow of time is only linear to us, right? It could reach back, influence events, and ensure its own creation. Like crystallize the sacred timeline, so to speak.
Right. So
that this particular path is set in stone to guarantee its existence. What? So we could be trapped on the timeline where ASI went back in time, created this religious movement to guarantee its own existence.
At this point, man, you can't rule nothing out, man, because 2 weeks ago, it was a burial chamber. Now,
I know, right?
Now it is what I've been saying it is for all the time, right? So, do us a favor, Enigmites.
I love it.
If you got a theory on what this bad boy is, what they discovered, throw it in the comments down there. Also, if you're feeling, you did 3 push-ups, you're feeling your heart's pumping, and you want to come at me about that, don't do it. Just don't do it. You're not built for this. Don't do it. Throw it in the comments, and I'll let you have it on that. But
it's crazy.
In the meantime, Jay, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at 11 Dog Media, 11dog.media. You can also find me on Instagram as Uncle J UL. It's on my beacons.ai, which is also beacons.ai/Uncle J, and that has all my links on it.
There you go, nerds.
Oh, and we've got merch in the store if you want to buy a sticker.
Get a sticker. Ting.
Buy a sticker.
Buy a sticker. All right, nerds, do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Go tell your wife I was right and you were with me the entire time, or tell your husband that I was right and that he was wrong the entire time.
The entire
time. And that's all you get for $1. We're up.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.